do what I do. What if you poor with a pistol? What if you poor with a gun? The poor person is all. So next time somebody commits a crime, instead of asking the facts of the crime, we got to go look at their bank accounts and their holdings to determine whether or not they were a predestined victim or not. I want y'all to think about that, man. See, by implying that the financial desperation renders a person incapable of consent, society is imposing moral judgments on relationships between rich people and poor people. And this can create a stigma around consensual interactions, suggesting that they're inherently exploitative, regardless of the actual dynamics at play. You got a business and you done well for yourself. You start people off at minimum wage. Well, 2 weeks after hiring your newest 2-week hire, they send you a lawsuit and say, well, you're rich and I'm poor, and you paying me these wages is inherently unfair. And so now you gotta give me a raise and make sure I get paid $40 an hour, even though I just got here 2 weeks ago. Because again, by implying that financial desperation renders people incapable of consent, society is imposing moral judgment, and it's basically saying that it's inherently exploitative. This is how far this would go. If society accepts that poor people cannot truly consent due to financial pressures, this could lead to policies that further criminalize consensual relationships across economic lines. Laws can focus on protecting the vulnerable rather than recognizing the complexities of consent among consenting adults. And that's going to lead to overreach. The other thing it's going to do, I want y'all to hear me. You better leave them broke women alone. Because if this is the direction that we're heading in, this perspective, it's going to exacerbate the class divides by framing wealth as a corrupting influence. The mere fact that you have money, now you corrupt. You were good yesterday, but you won the lottery today. And so now that you're rich, you're corrupt. And it positions rich people, affluent people, as morally suspect for their financial power. The fact that you have money, it suggests that wealth is inherently corrupts relationships. And this can foster resentment and misunderstanding between socioeconomic classes, and as opposed to encouraging dialogue amongst economic inequality. Somebody type "eat the rich" in the chat room. TIQ has excellent analysis so far on you cooking at Hot Texas Barbecue. Yeah, man. Now, if society views poor people as unable to make choices free from coercion, it can hinder their opportunities for social mobility. It suggests a fixed narrative where financial status dictates personal worth and capability, rather than recognizing the resilience and agency many people from lower class economic backgrounds possess. In other words, look, we just gonna write you off top because you're broke. You're broke, and therefore what you have to say is meaningless. So we're gonna strip your right to vote away, because not only are you a victim, but you don't have the mental capacity to even consent to what happens to your body. See, the notion that poor people's rights to make their own decisions should be stripped away based on their economic status raises significant ethical, moral questions. Because again, with the responsibility, right, becomes you got obligations. If we can't even hold you responsible for what you do with your sexual organs, we certainly can't give you the right to vote, right? And there are going to be people who say, well, we should strip away their rights. The belief that poor people are inherently vulnerable, which is what this whole P. Diddy lawsuit is saying, that he was rich and they were poor, and because they were poor and he had money, they were inherently vulnerable and subject to his coercion. What does that say in the inverse? it says that poor people are inherently vulnerable, and that can lead to others who argue that their decision-making capabilities should be limited or stripped away. We have to treat them like children. Shout out to Lemuel Norman. I've been discussing this since he was taken into custody. They're attempting to criminalize lifestyle choices. Charging him with RICO is insane. Keep going. I am. And I'm glad you saw that, Lemuel. I appreciate you. See, what this does is this perspective posits that financial desperation totally compromises your ability to make sound choices. In other words, if you're a broke student, if you're a poor person living in the ghetto, financial desperation, you can't make sound choices. They're basically justifying paternalistic approaches to governing the poor. They're justifying social policies that restrict the rights of the poor. And y'all think they're looking for justice. Now, what happens? There are going to be people who advocate for restricting the rights of broke people. And they're going to say, well, this is what we have to do because it's necessary to protect them from these rich people. And how rich is rich? What if you're middle class, you got a job paying you $42,000 a year, and you decide you're a 28-year-old young man and you decide to date a 20-year-old chick who works at Chick-fil-A, and she only makes $12,000. Comparatively speaking, you're 4 times wealthier than her. So compared to you, she's poor. And you all decide to enter into a consensual sexual relationship, and they say, well, you know what? He had things she didn't have. He had a car, he had an apartment, and she only had sex with him because he had a car and he had an apartment, and he gave her $40. Somebody type $40 for lunch. And she needs to keep having sex with him so she can keep getting that $40. Is that coercion? Do we need to protect this young woman who's 20 and works at Chick-fil-A from this young man who makes $42,000 a year? Well, I would certainly argue that if we're going to protect these poor people, then that's going to give rise to policies that limit their participation in economic or social activities. They can't go to football games. Football games are too expensive. Matter of fact, they can't buy anything but milk, cheese, bread, butter, and chicken in the grocery store because they can't make good decisions. So we're going to limit what they eat. And this includes consensual relationships. I'm not even talking about sexual relationships. We can't allow poor people to be friends with people who have criminal backgrounds because poor people make poor decisions. And those people with criminal backgrounds are not going to be a good influence on them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to ban them from being able to speak to each other. Shout out to Latrell Richard. How far does this go? And this is done under the guise of safeguarding them from exploitation. See, there may be a belief that rich people possess greater moral or ethical judgment. And that leads to the idea that they should guide or control the decisions of the less affluent. You all always talking about the elite on here. Y'all love talking about the elite and the bourgeoisie. But at the same time, when you dig down deep into this P. Diddy lawsuit, basically it's saying that rich people are more intelligent, more powerful than poor people. And therefore, when there's a rich person who has sex or does something where a poor person consents, that consent is automatically vitiated. It's all automatically set aside. Because the rich person in that dynamic is the protector, while those in poverty are viewed as incapable of making informed choices. Think about that. Shout out to my man Rich Guy. He said the frivolous Diddy indictment is just more reason for men to become passport bros. They can leverage the system against you at any moment. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. We see it happening. Shout out to my man Simple Shit TV. We see it happening. But the thing is, we're talking about the erosion of autonomy. Stripping rights from poor people undermines their autonomy and dignity. It suggests that they're incapable of making decisions about their own lives, effectively reducing them to the status of dependency and reinforcing systematic inequalities. If society accepts that poor people should have their rights curtailed, it could lead to a legal framework that codifies these beliefs. And this is going to result in laws that limit the ability of poor people, low-income people, to enter into contracts. Nah, we can't let this poor person buy a car. Better yet, we can't even let this poor person have a Metro pass. Poor people are not allowed to sign off on Metro pass, so you can't take the train or the bus to get to your job.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome to the broadcast. This is Uncle D.
People wash their ass in the tub, Kamala Harris.
You would tune in to Uncle D. D's black man talk. Pull up, homie, take a seat. Don't be a shadow watcher every day. You learn something, then you earn something. Let them know and drop some money in the plate. It's getting cold, ladies, talking ratchet. There's a king here, grab your coat, zip your jacket. Keep quiet for a second, close your jaw. Attorney Spurling, this ain't pearly, know the law. Talking Constitution, pushing pins when he shooting, give him that. Masculinity, just for the record, sprinkle that. You can keep your cat, gotta cut it. Only cat he rubbing, gotta love it. I call it Molly Buddy. Gotta vote your interest, voting earns. Presidential, this is for the money that I earn. When you gon' learn, my people, that evil mixed with evil. No matter what you're doing, baby, this ain't equal. Sometimes when you're special, you get hated. The test is for the best, you're damn right, my people made it. Uncle D, Blizzard King, you been served, gotta notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now.
Hey man, I'll do what I do.
Somebody need to whip your ass.
Get up and whip him, Sweets.
Hey, don't be putting the money in my hand all rough.
Take your ass out here. You buy you a Flowbee and cut your own damn hair from now on.